Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the newsroom. You can't afford to miss it.
Good afternoon out there, and welcome to this edition of In the Newsroom. My name is Oladayola Nipekun, and we do justice to three serious topics in the newsroom this afternoon. And let me quickly go through the topics before I introduce my guests who are already seated. The first topic says Adamawa governorship, coalition and final announcement. Well, you will recall that in the last few days we have witnessed and we have been faced with, somebody call it political shenanigans. I don't know, describe it as a political debacle. I don't know. But I know, like I told you, the guests are in the studio and they will tell you that after the coalition we already had final announcement. But before the coalition and final announcement, we went through a very, I don't know, maybe I call it rough route or so before the final coalition announcement of the governorship election in Adamawa State, which started since March 18th, if I'm not mistaken. And the second topic says fuel subsidy. Federal government begins 40% pay rise for workers. Well, some people call it pay rise. The Association of Senior Citizens of Nigeria says it's just an increment in allowances and not the entire salary thing. And of course, the third topic is credited to the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Osbc. Says he was fuming if over what it's called weaponization of ethnic, religious, and sectional prejudice. Well, I'm a moderator and I have little to say on all those things, but I know my people in the newsroom who are very capable, who do justice and will give you the best you can talk of today on this Wednesday afternoon. My name is Oladayola Nipekun. Once again, I have in the studio my immediate right, Adeola Adobe. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Glad to be here. Always a joy.
Yes, I know you're always happy to be in the newsroom. I can attest to that. Ablatif.
Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon to our viewers at home.
Yes, I know. Last week we missed you.
Yes, I was challenged a bit.
And of course, my brother and the barrister is here. Adita Akala, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here.
The only one in suit.
And let me start from Adita Akala. Adita, the political imbroglio in Adamawa, as a Nigerian, as a voter, and as a journalist, and also as a lawyer, that scenario, that drama.
Well, I don't know. The drama, the Adamawa saga, it's been called names by various people. It's been called political shenanigans. It's been called all of this and that. But of course, as Nigeria, and from all the perspectives with which you have also described me, I conclude that the Adamawa, what played out in Adamawa during the supplementary election was nothing but a treason, particularly the conduct of the REC. It's a treason. It's a treason. It's an affront on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and it's also an affront on the Nigerian state itself. And it's repressible, it's condemnable, and it's also punishable, and it should also be done as such. So nothing else can be added.
Okay, we'll get to that. Just your description. Usman Latif, that I'm not sure that has ever happened in the history of this country, and that a resident electoral commissioner will assume the role of returning officer.
Thank you very much. I think what happened in Adamawa, was very worrisome and very disturbing, especially when you look at the way we've been you know, giving INEC kudos and everything, the way they've conducted most of, 70, 80, 90% of some of the elections in the last 1 month, and then they are coming to this, and then everything was handled in a very bad way. So I think it is like when you have, how do they say it? No matter how clear the cloud is, you have a dark spot whereby you know, at least you still have. So, but I think we should have gone past that kind of drama. That is why we said we should be having strong institutions. If we are conducting election, a staggered election for that matter, supplementary election, and then that supplementary election has now become so disorganized. So it shows that a lot of things are happened in Adamawa that we are yet to know. Okay. And then, but it is very disturbing. It is very worrisome. And then I believe we should have gone past that. Okay. But it is disturbing, and it is not. It's not something to be happy about.
I want to critique from what Abdulatif just said. That maybe there are issues that will unfolding as time goes on. But look at the stand of National INEC in quickly arresting that drama.
Well, the behavior of that resident electoral commission is evidence or evidence and a sample of how many people behave when they are in position of authority. And in this case, he being the resident electoral commission felt that he had more power than the returning officer, and he could jump up and go and usurp the process even while the process was still ongoing. So that was not a surprise to me, but it was just disappointing that a person in such a position and where the future...
Do you say not a surprise?
I wasn't surprised, but I was disappointed. Surprised, like I said, many people in position of authority, they always want to be recognized as being the one in charge. So what he did is a reflection of what many people did when they are in position of authority. And being that he's the resident electoral commissioner, I think please correct me, is it the highest ranking officer in that state, in INEC? Yes. So now you want to make himself, make his position known, and want to make sure that people know that he is in charge. I'm in charge here now. There are movies that are published, that are out that say something like that. But what he did was wrong, we all know that. But now the intrigue that has followed that, which we might get into, part of it is that it was reported that is a DSS who announced about money changing hands without evidence, without proof, and then making the woman to come out and say she didn't give money to anybody. All those things are happening, and but the main thing is that INEC took a decisive step by stopping the process, by annulling the results that was announced by the RAC, and by calling a meeting of all the resident commissioners all over the place, and then coming to a conclusion and a consensus that this is the way forward. And they came out yesterday or day before, and they took the way forward, concluded the collation, and then made the proper announcement. But the announcement now, many people still don't agree with. But at least INEC took a corrective measure in that situation.
Look, the suit filed by APC candidate Binani, that suit is still standing, and various allegations, counter allegations of roles played by the INEC National Commission, not direct now. The two of them, they say this rumor, these allegations, the role played by the DSS, just otherwise I didn't just mention that one, another role played by the aides of governmentally, and the exchange of billions of naira by the etc. All those wrap up in suggest something as far as Adamawa government election is concerned.
Well, I do not know when you say suggest. I don't know what that is suggesting to your mind, because we have said it that what happened in Adamawa is condemnable.
I'm talking about all those allegations and counter-allegations.
Of course, because of course there is no doubt, no doubting the fact that a lot of this went wrong or are wrong in Adamawa, in the whole of build-up to the Adamawa sovereignty and the whole scenario itself not play out. Because for the first time in the history of Nigeria, that the REC will usurp the power of the REC, I mean of the returning officer, to come and announce the winner of an election, even when the collation has not been done as expected by the law. So either it is his own decision or somebody's decision. There are certain forces behind what he did. There are certain forces that influence his decision. If there are no forces that influence his decision must have been influenced by interests of some forces. So his actor is acting for some forces, is acting in interest of some people. So he actually acted in certain interest. But you mentioned the case filed by Binani. You know that in struggle for power, anything in war, anything is fair.
Okay.
Binani is just trying to be too smart to play a motion on Section 149 of the Electoral Act, which suggests that anything that an officer of INEC does, either in error or by mistake,
can only be obtained
by a court. But she has forgotten that cannot be read alone. That must be read in combined with Section 133 of the same Electoral Act that only gives power to the returning officer to announce the winner of such an election. You cannot do something or nothing. There is no way that you now assume. In fact, that Section 149 does not contemplate that such an error will be done because number one, I have an issue. If you look at error is a function of what you are supposed to do that is not done well. The REC is not even supposed to be there at all, so how much less was making an error in announcing a result.
Even if it's there, it's supposed to be seen.
It's not be there.
It's not be heard.
It's not going to be part of the collation. It can be there just as an observer.
Okay.
It has no role whatsoever to play. So on what basis? It's not. They don't result. All the electoral officers on the field did not send their report, their result to him. He's not in charge of anything. He just comes there as an authority. He has prepared the place for the visitor, which is the arrow, and he's just sitting there and looking. So the arrow, as a result, the copy and the process has been following through. Only 10 local government was to go. So at what point he did now jump to usurp the power of the arrow, and somebody who is favored by that Sherenega is now playing on emotion to go to court to say that that mistake of the arrow can only be obtained by a court of law. No, the ab initio, the court, there is no process. So you can. What they did had been par incuria ab initio. It was an error that is an unpardonable error that cannot even be that will not even be back. No, I'm sure that I learned a case the court declined jurisdiction. I don't even listen to that yesterday. Even the court has own jurisdiction. It's a bad case. It's an abuse of court process. Whatever they are doing. So they have no case. But what we have seen for me is what we saw in Adamawa. I also do not want us to play it extremely too much of an emotion. It's one of those things that occur in struggle for power. We know, you see, more than anything else, power is the sweetest, it's the most complicated. In fact, power is sweeter than money. Yes, otherwise a billionaire will not want to contest for governor or for president. A billionaire will not waste his money to ensure his brother becomes governor or anywhere.
Exactly.
But with the sweetness of power, you can see that's why that you have to use every means possible. And that's why we have every society, advanced contemporary democratic society, set up standard to say that this is how we follow to get to power.
When you say we want to use something, I want to say it's crude way.
Crude way. They want they have attempted it. But like my brother said, the society has agreed that there are people, the society contemplate that there will be people who want to use crude means to get to power. So let us have a standard process, institution that will guide the way, the manner will come to power. Okay. But at every point in time, certain individuals will still want to usurp that process, want to also compromise that process. They want to circumvent that process. Natural. It is the institution. In this of you, have been seen talk, visiting the parliament to go and beat everybody. So it's not what happened an hour for me.
Okay. As
repressible as it was, it's all unusual. So we should not only learn. We have learned the next step in our democratic adventure as a nation.
Okay. Relative Usman, I want to quote the winner now. The Governor Adama Vintiri. He said, "I ran against powerful people in Abuja, not Binani." End of quote.
Yes, he has won the contest. He is entitled to whatever he says to justify winning it. But I think the INEC is trying to save face.
Okay.
You know, by engaging in a kind of fire brigade approach to resolve the issue. Now, the hanging man, the man that is there at the hanging point is the barrister Ari, that is now the talk of the town. But if you look at it, I think INEC
suspended
rec. I think INEC should look at it holistically and review the whole process. I mean, there was a kind of disconnect between the rec and the returning officer, the arrow.
Of course, yes.
There was disconnect between them. It seems the rec belongs to a particular, clique, while the RO and the two commissioners belong to another clique. That is to show you that something might have been brewing up in those days before that particular time when the reg came out. So instead of
the gap between when the election was held and the supplementary
and the day of, and even the day till the day that they did, if you observe, you will see that it was the reg himself that announced the postponement of the collation process from 9 p.m. on this Saturday
to Sunday morning.
It was not the whole of them. Ideally, it should be the whole of them. So INEC should not only be INEC is trying all the kind of damage control technique now. Let us quickly resolve this thing. You are fired. This is gone. No, INEC should should come up with a powerful committee that will investigate the whole
scenario
drama. No, so you cannot just hang one person. Now the man did something bad.
Good. Yeah.
But what prompted him to do some of the things he did? That is why I said, there are divisions between. Yes, I cannot say something very vital and very important.
Okay.
That people, politicians, with their nature, will always look for crude ways to get to power. Binani tried our own. Immediately joke. We can call it a joke, a big joke of announcement. Immediately in favor of that, he went out and started reading another laughable acceptance speech. And then immediately, so politicians, for who they are, will always try to bend rules, find their ways around some of these things. But institutions should. That's why I believe that man, that Udu Hari alone, should not be penalized. He did something bad, but INEC should look at the whole thing, because we shouldn't be having this kind of scenario again. It is disheartening, and it is laughable that a country as big as Nigeria, we cannot conduct just a supplementary election for wards or units that are not up to about 10 local governments. That is to show you that a lot of things happened behind the door, behind the closed door, behind the curtains, that most of us we don't have knowledge of. INEC should not just wave all those things away. There should be a powerful committee that will investigate the whole drama. The role of the REC, the role of the RO in the days leading to the day till the moment when that man, the barrister Uduhari came and announced and did that announcement. A lot of things might have happened, like Akiola said, that warrant him doing that. He couldn't have just wake up and do that. There must be a lot of things that are happening. But I think Fintiri should not rejoice too much. I cannot call it a hard-earned victory. It's a victory that has a lot of shadow on it, but still it's a victory. But he should be magnanimous in victory to make sure that he cohorts everybody, including the woman, so that they can move Adamawa State forward.
And we have often discussed the issue of the composition of INEC. That from submission of an executive arm, either REC, either National Commission, even the chairman of the commission, the executive gathering some people and sending them to the National Assembly for confirmation. You think we should still or move away from, or maybe a body of retired justices or the media being a committee? Because some people say there's no how if the president who belongs to a particular party will gather. You see the case of Onochi.
all individuals and those who have been taken to National Assembly, examined and confirmed, they're all humans like us. They're from among us. They are one of us. They may not be one like us, but they're one of us. We're all subject to, when we get to a place and then we feel entrenched there, we can do whatever we like. How many people can we quote that have taken advantage of their position in different? What this REC did is condemnable, but he's one of us, and he behaved like any of us could find ourselves behaving. But what he did again is to be completely condemned and should be prosecuted, actually, because if he's allowed to go scot-free, somebody else will do the same thing or similar thing in the future. So INEC should do something. I think that's what made the INEC director call the IGP and ask the IGP to investigate, because when he says there's money involved, maybe 2 billion, maybe that is what made him call the IGP to investigate. And then he asked that the REC be arrested and prosecuted. So maybe he knows something that he knows something more than we know. And I think I commend Mahmoud, INEC director, I commend him for taking this decisive action and decisive step, because there have been so many criticisms of INEC, especially this election. The performance has improved a step up or a step forward, but then this is where we get the most criticism of INEC. So for this one to happen at this time during this election period, it's commendable that Mahmoud has called for investigation and taking all these steps. I agree with him, but again, this is Nigeria. It is time that we have a moral reformation in Nigeria, that whatever and wherever, whatever position we have, that we'll do it to God and country.
I know you want to talk, but I want you to add this to it. INEC has formally reported Adama's threat to Buhari through the SGF. That's the state of the SGF. And
well, for me, those are just mere formality. Apart from INEC,
you call it formality.
Yeah, those are just mere formality.
Okay.
The law is clear.
Okay.
And the process of the law is very clear. If a man commits an infraction, is reported. The man, if he's criminal, is arrested. If he's not criminal, if he's civil, he's sued. There are things, you don't really need to go and tell the president that he has done this and that.
The president appointed him.
No, it is that's not. I agree. He appointed him, but he did what he did is likely to mutiny. He took a decision against. He confronted the constitution of Nigeria. He has a provision of the law with him that he does not have that power to do so. So what he would have done first is for the police. Once INEC has reported to the IG, for the police to order his arrest and trying. There are offences listed in the electoral act too. And I know that's also form part of the offences. So he should also be tried. It's only after you are trying the man that is now reported to the president who appointed him. But reporting to he does not enjoy immunity. Only the governor and the president enjoy immunity and nothing. So why is he not arrested? So reporting him is just because of what we are doing. Our democracy is still nascent. Some people may not want to agree. It is nascent. It is just less than 30 years. Why is it nascent? Is that a lot of variables are still unfolding, evolving, and we are trying to stabilize. For example, you recall when the late Prince Abdul died in Kogi State. It also brought the conundrum that what do we do? And it started. And the constitution never envisaged such. And the court, it was the court that said, look, the party determined becomes candidate. That he has not been the governor, he has not been declared as winner. And that led to the amendment of the constitution to provide for that. Today now what the Senate and Adamawa will also bring another amendment of the electoral law to provide for it. And that is the way a country evolves. It is not, we are human. For me, where I want to say this, that not only the Adamawa people are guilty, the media is also guilty. The media is guilty. All of us as journalists. The traditional newspapers that carry the story, that use it as headline, they are online. Adamawa INEC announces they are beside Biami and Sina of Bilani. No, they were guilty until the INEC now turned back and now withdrew. They knew, all of us, by section 22 of the constitution, the media is also mandated to defend the constitution, the provision of the constitution. Yes. And in defending the constitution, you have to report what is true. What is true is that it is only a returning officer that can announce the winner of a governorship election and not the rec. So when there is the contrary, you cannot report it with such an headline that somebody wins Adamawa. No, you can say RSC, you can look certain thing in your headline that shows that Nigeria knows that the media can pass judgment. Yes, you are reporting what is clear. The provision of the constitution says only this man can do this. If you see the contrary, you don't have to blemish it, you don't have to begin. So the confusion we have seen today, the media is also guilty by playing on words, because of course the media is anyways is elitist media and playing the games of the owner of the media. And that's exactly what the media is also guilty in all of this. What that's expected in capitalist liberal politics like ours, that the media, all the institutions are owned by those who are in power. And that's what we saw. But the media should also accept the fact that it's not only who do or what is him that was guilty or whoever were with him. All of the institutions that should also check him were guilty. The police has also falling flat or failure of their responsibility to also, to also enforce the law or to also prosecute somebody who has committed a strong infraction against the law. Now waiting to report him to SDF to president. Just notwithstanding, for example, if a National Assembly member, okay, if a minister steal, you have to report him to minister before you arrest the minister for stealing. If he's caught in the scene of armed robbery, you want to wait for a minute for the president. No, you arrest him and take him and charge him. The other one is later. So a lot of this, I as for one, I do not want to be I don't see one of these things we see. I'm not a moralist, and the issue of power is not moral. It's a matter of human organization that is evolving. Institution cannot just come in a day. It is human being that make institution. Yeah. So all of those things is evolution of a process, and the more we go, the better we surely become. Okay. I do not condemn anybody. Even the Bilani, the Udu, all of them who are actors in all of this, they are also part of those strengthening our democratic experiment. Yeah, whichever role you play, like Shakespeare said, Macbeth, life is the stage now. All of us are actors. So you play yours. So whichever you play certain role, it is the theory of opposite that brings about development. So today, Udu and Bizarre play certain role that will lead to further constitutional development in Nigeria.
Okay, like this one, I know that seems to be a last thing. The role played by the security agencies that led to the removal of the Adamawa CP and movement of Gombe CP to Adamawa. You see the security agencies being played through or being having a role to play or played role too as far as Adamawa is concerned.
I think the security agencies are just to, the presence of the CP, and then in some other states you see maybe some paramilitary agencies, some all those things sitting
this scenario where the CP himself sat, where the REC was making announcements.
That's what I'm saying. So you see, like he said, some of people have been engaged in a lot of camps and cliques and circles. So that is why you will see that there are a lot of factors that played in the case of Adamawa State that when you start to dissect them, you know that it is a lot of interest, interwoven and all that. The CP was there, but other agencies are not there. Now,
the DSS was there too.
Yes. Like I said, there was this to guide against some of these ugly scenarios in the future. They should dig the whole thing. The inspector, the state CP was there, and he has been transferred. Now, what is his role there? His role is just to be there to help him. It means next time, if any REC or anybody not authorized to make a declaration is about to do that, the CP will have to call his organ and say, somebody asked me to sit in so place. I will not be there. Now, that is to show you that this thing is also strengthening the process. In the long run, one day a certain REC will want to do that, and he will not see anybody around him. No CP, no director of BSS, everybody will not do. So he or she can be mishandled. The police shouldn't have given him security. That's exactly. In fact, the police is the only institution that has acted well. And the media even covered it. The people announcing that shouldn't have even been carried. The police was there. Yeah, the police is the only institution that has acted well. As in by the IGP immediately transferred to the yes. The other agencies did not do that. That shows that look. The REC was asked to step aside too. The REC was the corporate now. Other agencies, the CP, of course, the CP, if he had ordered his arrest that day,
I mean, that would have been hasty. It could have resulted to a lot of other things. So he was not smart enough, but the imposition of the police acted fast to say, okay, look, you also compromised one way or the other. You are not supposed to, you were there, and it happened in your face. As the policeman, by saying, you should know that he's doing the wrong thing. Either to withdraw your men from giving security back, or to report to other senior authority you did not. So
it says that we need to make sure anyone that we appoint into such positions, they know the letters of the law. Do they know the
reg? Even under the most controversial circumstances,
of course.
It is not the reg. For example, look at our state here. When our election was declared conclusive in December in 2018, it was not the reg. It was the man, he brought from Abuja to supervise the election that says so, not the reg here.
Yes.
So he knows that the reg that says so.
So you go to second topic. You have said a lot of
topic.
Yeah, you have said a lot of. I know what I do. I'm coming to you.
Both of them. But you will not get it. The man in the street will not get it, and the every person. So if federal workers are qualified to receive 40% because of the subsidy removal, I am also. How do I get it? I am also a consumer, and I also buy fuel. I buy fuel everywhere.
He's right. Inflation is at the highest level it can ever be in Nigeria, as it is all over the world. But the problem, the difference between the way it is in Nigeria and the way it is in the other part of the world is that when that happens, people have planning ahead for it. People have planned ahead for it, and when this is happening, people are planning and all that. You see, this issue of subsidy removal and every other, measure the government wants to put in place is not well thought, is not well planned, and it is not. It cannot be. It's not sustainable. So if you don't look at it from that angle, you realize that it is the normal, fire brigade approach of our government to some of issues that minimum wage, and make sure stand on the neck of the state governors to also increase that of the state
and local
government. When you do that, you see that people purchasing power of the people will rise. People will have more money. They will have money that will correspond with whatever they are getting. But I don't want to give my daughter 20 naira. But on my way out, I will have to spend another 12 naira because I don't give that 20 naira. How much are we spending? Should be well planned. Should be planned in a sustainable way, so that in the long run you just realize that you just be hearing millions. We know we galvanate towards that. We'll be able to. We will not feel the heat. But the way it is now, if there is any further increment in the price of petroleum prices, the Nigerian government is calling for a serious trouble.
I want you to quickly react to this. Like you just said, the government might be calling for trouble. And look at what the National Treasurer of NSC, Akim Ambali, described it as. He said it's a rumor. He said there is a procedure. I'm quoting now. There is a procedure for negotiating free benefits, tripartite committee. Now, this allowance was tagged consequential, and little English consequential means happening as a result of maybe as inflation or can government just make workers happy for the first time without being.
You said that government cannot make workers happy without being pushed. It does not happen anywhere in the world. Every right is fought for and not given a la carte. No employer has given free to his worker except you ask for it. So as long as the worker feel comfortable, the employer will feel he's doing well and he keeps silent. That's what history teaches us. That the history of labor, the employer-employee relationship is the one that has been quite combustible. The one that has always been part of struggle. So everything that the worker has achieved through his employer has been achieved through, serious struggle. And the Nigerian situation is also an exception. Because the man who is the employer wants to maximize profit, and it must do that to the detriment of the one that is working for him. And that has been the global trend, and it's happened everywhere, particularly under a capitalist economy. Now, the consequence upon the proposed removal of fuel. The problem of Nigerian state is also what you have seen. You have not added the money. You have already made it a new issue. You have already made it a public issue. First of all, pay the workers, and now see what happens when fashion
or increase the subsidy.
Or pay, let the worker receive the first alert that show the increase. Then they know you are serious. But now you went to town to announce without even consulting the representative of those workers and follow the procedure that has been established in labor law, that when you want to do this, we are going to negotiate, we agree. But you are doing to the workers as if you are doing them a favor. We give you something on your money because we are going to remove subsidy. No, the other one, I mean, it is also wrong. It's a wrong procedure, and that's where the federal government or government in Nigeria have always. I don't know what is actually wrong. We have always been, because we are not sincere. Our leadership are not sincere. The people are also not sincere. It's hypocrisy everywhere. Well, like my brother said, when President Jonathan removed add excess crude oil, the likes of Adam Oshomole said it was not safe. They said that the sovereign wealth fund was a fraud. They went against it, they rejected, and they shared the money. All of them brought and started buying vehicles. I remember in the state, they finally bought buses, luxury buses to convey workers. From where to where? Which worker? In Okela. You have a bus that will convey to Okela secretariat. It is not practicable. Those are government also wasted money in this state and bought school buses for primary. How many children will you convey with those buses to school? These are wasteful spending. The Nigerian political elites, they play on emotion. A genuine leader know what to do. That progress is gradual. It's not it's not radical. But progress can only be radical, that is revolutionary. But progress in this situation, in the liberal system, is gradual. Certain things are done and certain results are expected. But you don't expect to conduct a surgery on a person today and tomorrow the person must be report at the mine and be working again. No, it doesn't work. And that's exactly what Nigerian political leadership have always tried to do. And that's exactly the thing they are bringing again to the issue of fuel subsidy and try to placate workers to say that no, even when we impose fuel subsidy does not affect you. No, that's not correct. Last time they imposed, the federal government increased 30% increase in salary. Many states have not implemented that as we speak. I know that maybe Zamfara state has done, Kogi state has not. I'm not sure whether they have done now. Kwara state, we have the record. And now, the truth of the matter is that the civil servant is the most unfortunate worker. You know how? He responds to a market that does not control. The man who is selling pepper is lucky. They don't understand. The price of his pepper is a function of is consequential on the prices within the economy. Then if you now look at the level of state increase, you have said it that let us restructure Nigeria. There is no way in the world that every government pay the same thing. A also will pay what it can, negotiate with his own worker. Kwara will do, but we cannot say when Abuja increases, it will be the same everywhere.
I will go to the third topic. I know. There are a lot.
If I may just say, the cost of living allowance ought to be worked in for everybody, that at a certain on January whatever, everybody will get a percentage increase without any negotiation, without having to go through all of these fire brigade approach. Cost of living allowance ought to be worked into every wage, every salary. That's all I want to say.
But shall we go to quickly? Time is against topic, and I'm coming to you. The Vice President at the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru, and at a function, he delivered a speech tagged "Creating Homeland for All, Nation Building in a Diverse Democracy." And I want to quote the Vice President. In 1989, I was about to get married and I was searching for a good house to rent.
Yeah.
I met my landlord, who happened to be an elderly lawyer, who obviously did more real estate than legal practice. He let me know that there were 3 categories of people he wouldn't not rent out property, put his body in his care. 1, Igbo; 2, Ijebus; and 3, lawyers. I was disqualified on 2 accounts. He then said to me, pointing behind him at a few severed up books on a small bookshelf, that he had the arsenal to destroy any tenant in court if I gave him any trouble. He later, to his embarrassment, discovered that I was a law student, a law teacher, an advisor to the Attorney General of the Federation, and of course that I'm also an Ijebu. I have shared this story to illustrate a point that I think is hugely important, which is that prejudice and bias are natural aspects of human nature. Everyone has prejudices and preference that are reinforced by stories, narratives.
Thank you very much.
How do you get to this? That
Some
you
of
must be
these things
somebody,
are
you must be
natural.
somebody, you must be somebody.
Yes. Some of these things are natural, and it is due to some past experiences of people, exposure, and every other factors that can make people to have some of these prejudices towards some set of people or tribe or religion. I have some people, they'll tell you, no, don't marry from that tribe. The Egbas are very difficult. And but will tell you that so many, is it possible that all the Egbas are marrying themselves? At least most of them are married from
all the
outside.
Egbas are bad.
Yes, no, it's not, but some of these things have been reinforced over time. But that's not the thing. The issue now is that, you see, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, a dangerous dimension has been introduced to the politics of Nigeria. The last election was so politicized, was politicized,
tribalized,
and really
regionalized,
and all that. I mean, the politics of religion, politics of tribe. If you look at the pattern, it is worrisome, it is disturbing. If we and with all due respect, Professor Osbc is also part of the problem. Yes, it's part of the people using weapon of religion. In some, let us be realistic. If we really want to finish Nigeria, let us start this. Let us continue this that we started during the last election. If you look at the pattern, people, a certain religion voted for each other religion. Most of people voted religions, voted separately.
Do you want to believe that?
Yes, no, I'm talking of this, studying the pattern now. If you study the pattern, that was how it is. Because some people, some players use weapon of religion. Say, see, especially immediately the APC brought out the issue of Muslim tickets. And that we should not try it again. When next we are doing this, let us balance these religious issues so that there will not be tension, so that we will not be going to poll and people will be voting based on their religious belief or based on the fact that this person is from my tribe or from my. So we have to stop that, and Pastor Osbc we have to agree that it belongs to the class of people using the weapon of religion, using the weapon of tribe to seek political fortune, and is also not, is not, I mean, how do I put it, is not exonerated.
I'll come to it.
I did not agree.
I know, but then, yes, because the review spoke of the role of the elites, and he spoke of strong consensus, policy framework to promote social cohesion and unity of the country.
It's their duty to advance some of those things that they said. But you see, let me start with that. What I said, I did not agree. I did not agree that Osbc is guilty of that weaponization of religion in Nigeria. He's a pastor in the receiving presence of God. And as I speak to you, I'm not sure you have seen him at the lecture camp before on television. I'm not sure anybody here can say I've seen Osbc
no,
at the camp.
He's been there once or twice.
But not very rare. You will not see him even when he's there.
Yeah.
There are also seen Osbc preaching and talking about